Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hi Vel, hi Ayakame, hi Anka, how you doing? Hope you're all well. Hi Diana. Hey Nicola, good to have you with us. I'm doing great. How are you? Hey Jordan, good morning. Good to know Ayakame, good to see. Hey Desiree. As usual, we'll give it a couple of minutes before we get started. Hang on tight. Today is a Thursday. As I was saying yesterday, we were possibly thinking or looking out for a bit more of a trending scenarios over in the markets over today and tomorrow. So far, it's been a little bit consolidative. We've seen markets sit rather horizontally. So a bit of a spike up on the Aussie and the Kiwi dollar, but we'll look into that shortly. All right. Hey Sarah, how you doing? 2 more minutes. In the meantime, help me out. Click that like and subscribe button on YouTube. Click that little rocket ship button on TradingView. Good morning, Atir. How you doing? And if you're new to the session, the link is there for the Discord channel. And do drop a message, say hi, let me know where you're joining us from. I think the sound checking. I think the sound and the video looks should be working out fine. If there's any issues, do let me know. Hey Kaz, how you doing? How's Denmark? Thank you, Anchor. I'm super happy I've breached that 18,000 follower number on TradingView. So thank you everyone who's following me on TradingView. Hope to be pushing more good analysis and content out to you guys. Raining. Well, it's supposed to rain here in Singapore as well. We'll see. Hey Ridwans. Ridwans. How are you doing? Hey BL. 1 more minute before we get started. Maybe a bit less than 1 minute. Can we discuss what happened to major pairs? We will. We'll look at the majors during this session. I think Ridwan, you're new to the session, so welcome. Do check out the link below on TradingView for the trading community. Hope to see you there. Alrighty, so let's get started. Again, thank you all for joining me on this daily market analysis. Good to have you with us. During this daily market analysis, what we'll look at is the fundamentals. What happened last night or since the last time we spoke. We had the Bank of Canada with their interest rate decision holding at 5%. We'll go into more details about that shortly. And then we'll look at the fundamentals in terms of what's coming up. Not much in terms of big news events. So with that, we're possibly looking at or hoping for some trending scenarios. That's where we look at the technicals in terms of where price is, any indicators or analysis on the technical front that we can look at. Put that together, we look for some possible trade setups on the H1 time frame, because we are here every day. As it says, daily market analysis, we are here every day. We look for trade setups that will last for the day until tomorrow, where we'll speak again at 3 p.m. GMT plus 8. If you do have any questions at any point in time, please feel free to put it into the chat. Let me know. I'll be happy to help you with that. And if you haven't already, click that like and subscribe button. Click that link with the Discord channel, and you can take your discussions beyond this 1 hour session into Discord as well. Okay, with all that said, a quick disclaimer. Any information contained on this webinar should not be construed as advice and is presented as educational material only. So please do your own due diligence, because the contents of this webinar is not intended to be a recommendation to trade a financial product. Your objectives, financial situation, and needs has not been considered, and you should consider its appropriateness to your circumstances. Okay, good morning, Lainey. How are you doing? Hey, D-Train, good to see you. Thank you, Box. With that, let's keep going. So, looking at the news first. So this is how I always approach the markets. First thing I do, and I do this over and over again, first thing I do is really jump onto Forex Factory to check out the news, check out what has happened, whether it's changed the buyers or the currency pairs in any front. Looking at what happened last night at 10 p.m. GMT plus 8, we saw the Bank of Canada with their interest rate decision. Okay, before that at 9:15 p.m. we did see the UK on the pound dollar with their monetary policy report hearings, and if you look into that, it says policy is already sufficiently restrictive from one of the members, saying that putting out a statement that saying policy is already sufficiently restrictive gives the market the impression or the sentiment or the view that we might not see significant or further rate increases to come from the Bank of England. That's why we saw a big drop in the pound dollar, and also many of the from Governor Bailey from the Bank of England said that many of the indicators are showing that inflation is coming down quite markedly. All right, inflation coming down again. Combine that with policies sufficiently restrictive, that comes to the idea that we're not going to see, or we're less likely to see, further rate increases to come from the Bank of England. And then after that, decisional rates are finely balanced, right? So it comes back to that same statement that more action will be taken if required, depending on data, but it looks like based on the indicators are showing that inflation is coming down quite strongly. So during 9 p.m. what you would have seen is 9 p.m. GMT plus 8, what you would have seen is on the pound dollar, right? This was at 9 p.m. Oh, let me put that line there so see. This was at 9 p.m., right? The pound dollar had been sitting in that consolidation between or along that 1.2560 level. We were still thinking that it's in a wide straddle, could or was looking for it to push up, but we also thought of the potential that it could drop. So it actually did drop lower, had a good push down towards the support at 1.2487, right? A good 50, almost 60 pip drop to the downside. Right now, it looks like it's likely to push further down. So this was the impact that we saw. I was reading something else. This was the impact that we saw arise from the statements from the monetary policy report hearings from the UK. Rates seems like they're less likely to hike from the Bank of England. Inflation looking like it's dropping or going to be dropping more significantly, and that's why we saw the pound dollar drop to the downside towards that support level. Following on from that, at 10 p.m. we had the Bank of Canada holding rates at 5%, and during the rate statement, as we had expected, they said that although they held rates, where was it? Right? Although they held rates, they were prepared to raise rates further if required. As we were talking about yesterday, almost every central bank is saying that it became not much of a surprise, not much of a threat either. And because of that, what we saw on the US CAD at 10 p.m., right? Before the news, we saw that drop, the CAD, then after that push back up, right? The CAD continued to weaken before this move was because of the dollar index, not so much because of the CAD. So holding rates at 5%, although there was a threat of further rate increases, it's not a big surprise. That's why we saw the US CAD or the loonie continue with that near-term trend to the upside, right? So a bit of a retracement before pushing higher again. However, did not close above that 1.370 level, so it did not trigger the trade to upside. So that was what happened yesterday. That was what happened yesterday in terms of the monetary policy report hearings from the UK, and also the overnight rates or the interest rates from the Canadians and the rate statement from the Bank of Canada. A little bit surprisingly, we did see the ISM services PMI for the US rise from a 52.7. Expected a small drop to a 52.5. It rose up to a 54.5 at the same time at 10 p.m. GMT plus 8. And because of that, what we saw on the dollar at 10 p.m. was a push because was it because of ISM and services PMI being a bit more positive than expected. We saw that push to the upside, and that also explains why we saw this push to the upside on the US CAD. So this was all, it was a bit of a non-event from the Bank of Canada. Dollar strength pushed it up, and then after that it saw a bit of a retracement here. That's why we saw the US CAD retrace as well. So this was predominantly driven by the volatility in the dollar index, not so much in the US, or not so much in the Bank of Canada's interest rate decision. And the question came last night where we were planning to do a live session for this news event, but I thought of it and I was telling you guys through the day that most likely I thought it was going to be a non-event, and true enough, it was a non-event. That's why we didn't do a live session for this news. Okay, now on to today. For that, let me just read that. Okay, so one just asked, do we have this daily reviews on a daily basis? Yes, daily reviews on a daily basis. It is streamed on YouTube, it is streamed on TradingView, it is streamed on trading.live. I am looking for more platforms to stream this on. Most of the time you are going to see it more on TradingView, most of the time you're going to see it more on YouTube than on TradingView. So if you're on TradingView, do make sure you join or subscribe to the YouTube channel. Sometimes I would do an impromptu session and just jump on and stream live on YouTube. So you're in the right place there, one. Good to have you. With that, with all that, now looking at the news for today, like I was saying, no big major news to be had for today, because you see that there's a whole bunch, but not big price movers, not expected to change any or change direction of any currency pair at this point. We had beige book, we had manufacturing sales quarter on quarter, trade balance, not news events or not economic events that I generally pay attention to, or through to the Eurozone numbers, GDP numbers for the Eurozone as well. I don't really bother too much. Employment numbers, not either. Through to unemployment claims on the US, this is a weekly number, so again, not too concerned about that. All the way through to tomorrow, not much else until we see some CAD numbers, which I'll tell you more about that tomorrow. Okay, I am anticipating maybe some volatility during this yen news events or early tomorrow morning, 7:50 a.m. GMT plus 8. Right? Why I think that we might see some volatility during this period is because the US yen is at that 147.50 or currently at 147, just under 147.50 level, and it is in intervention zone. I mean, I'm coining that term. I'll call it intervention zone. That's where we start seeing more talks, more rumors, more jawboning from the Bank of Japan, from ministers in Japan, from anyone involved, right? Possibly talking more about an intervention to come, and the markets as well, expecting more likelihood of an intervention. So I think that with some news events, although it might not change much in terms of the previous and the expected, it might take a chance to do a trial intervention. Right? What I mean by trial intervention is just test out market liquidity, market volatility. You might see a bit of a drop as a trial, might come back up again after that, the lead up to a more significant intervention. Watch out for that. Watch out on your yen pairs if you are looking to hold on to a trade until tomorrow morning. Did not understand the Aussie news last night. I sell Aussie when the actual came out 80%, when they did 100%. What was the news there? 80. Sarah, which were you talking about in terms of the Aussie when the actual came out 80 and then I don't see the news. I don't see which news you're referring to. Unless you're talking about this one. Let me know, let me know. Hey Angel Case, how are you doing? Hey Kelvin, good to you. Worries one. I think you're talking about the trade balance at 80 to 100%. Typically, trade balance is not one of the big news events that we talk about, because trade balance does have a lot of components that leads to the calculation of a trade balance. It doesn't always lead to a correlated move in price, from 10 billion, expected 10 billion to 8 billion. It's not a big news event, and that's the difference in value between imported and exported goods and services during the reported month. So when you think about it, the difference in value between import and exported goods, there are the factors like the volatility or the fluctuations in the Aussie dollar. there are the production levels, there are inflation, there are who they're importing and exporting to. It's a very broad view. It's a longer term view of the markets, so it doesn't always lead to that correlated move in terms of price. So that's one reason why I did not highlight that to you guys during yesterday's session to look out for early this morning. I think that's the one you're looking at, but do let me know. Okay. Hey Spiros, how you doing? Hey Christina, good to see you. So with that said, let's look at the charts. So here, looking at the dollar index, that away. Okay, there we go. Bit more of a fantastic. You're most welcome there, Sarah. So with the dollar index, as we were looking at this, not the 6th of September anymore, it is the 7th. Yesterday, we were thinking that it's going to consolidate along 104.70 or retrace down to 104.40, overall strength to 105.10. Did not retrace down to 104.40. Instead, it consolidated along 104.70 before pushing up. We all know why it pushed up. It was the services PMI. Pushed up, retraced a little bit before now looking like it's going to continue to the upside. Okay, so that worked out quite well for us. I would be happy to take these ones away. Now, if we revise this line up to there, that would make sense. Let me see. There's some. Did that. That would make sense. That's fine. No, in fact, I don't even feel like we need that fib level there. We'll keep that there as level to watch out for. Support level there. Now, what I'm looking out for, we're talking about trending scenarios. We're talking about continuation of trend. Possibly what we're looking at is a continued push to the upside, right? Maintaining along the upper range of the channel, getting to 105.10 and on the H4 time frame, 105.10, and the next big swing level here, 105.65. That could come up to test this point. Now back to the H1 time frame. How it looks. Looks a little bit far away. Let's make the chart look a little bit nice. Hang on a second. Here we go. Okay, so what I'm looking for here now is that last night the dollar index came up to that 105 level, tested and rejected, right? Briefly retraced back down. And even if you did a very small fib retracement here, you see it came back down to that 50% level before pushing back up again. So now that it's found 50 and bounced, what we are possibly looking at is a continuation to the upside. Most likely going to come up to this area, this resistance area here. Sit along there and push up. I don't see why it would hit 105. I don't see why it would have such a big push, but it could come to 105.50 as a medium term target level. Okay. Okay. So what I'm looking at, and let me try something. Now let's sense. So what I'm looking for here on the dollar index, hey OJ, is dollar index to consolidate along 105 and 105.10, could break out to 105.50 to the upside. Overall, still looking for a continuation to the upside, but it looks like because it hit this level and retrace, I'm thinking that it could come back up, bounce around here for a while before breaking upside. Okay, so overall, still looking for that strength on the dollar index. Could it come to this point and retrace further? Yes, but I think that it looks a little bit less likely that it could retrace significantly. Short-term trend line to the upside. So I think it's going to come up, bounce around here, push higher. What's this point? 105.50. Okay, so I'm happy with that expectation for further upside on the dollar index. Good morning, Kaka. A new trader, I've been trading in gold for 2 months. Do you think it's good or bad to trade on gold? It is good to trade on gold. There is more volatility on gold, so do be extra careful, especially if you're new to it. How I approach gold, either super short term or super long term. If you're caught in the middle, I think that you're very likely to be caught in the price fluctuation. So good commodity or good instrument to be trading, but do have extra caution or do exert extra caution on that. Okay, so that's the view, and that's a reasonable view for dollar in. Okay, so with that, then on to the dollar. Okay, Kiwi dollar. That because that's the low, that's the equal lows we have found. Yesterday we were looking for it to break that equal low, right? We had an entry there at 0.5880, expected it to come down significantly, but we said that it was likely to come, made a decision at that 5859, 5860 level. Do a good 20 pip move to the downside, but found that equal low and bounced back up. Let's take that away. Now that it's doing this and that resistance is still holding, okay, you see that this whole area, bit of your resistance, still holding, showing a bit of a rejection, anticipating a push to the upside on the dollar. What you could be looking for is a push down again. Might look quite similar to yesterday's view. 5850. I think it's a little bit too, it would in a bit. This is a bit. I think that it might be a little bit too early to get in right now because it is pushing up right now. Looking for it to push back down. I think that at this point it will probably be better to be a little bit safer and say only if it breaks past 5860. So 5855, stop loss no more than 20 pips. I just want it above this point. And if you had 10 pips, sure, it looked like a very nice risk to reward, but 10 pips is quite a tight level to be had. So if you had 20, take profit, it could go down to that point, almost pips to the downside. Okay, so what I'll be looking for here, it's a bit odd that I'm seeing the dollar index push up, but yet the $3 pushing up as well. So I think it's going to sit there and then after that push back down. What I think could happen, or what you could be looking out for, is if it does drop, hit this level, trigger a trade, and because we have this level here, if it does bounce back up, could look to cut out your trade or cut out that trade early. Does not have to hit your take profit, your stop loss of 20 pips. It could be, if it shows a rebound, you could be looking to get out a little bit earlier on that. But overall, looking for that downward move dollar. So 5855 20 to 55. 20 to 55. I would say watch that equal low. Right, so watch that equal low means that it does come back up, could look to close out a little bit early, or close out at a loss but a bit early. Not a great, I wouldn't say this is a head and shoulder, not a textbook one, but if you there is some resemblance, you know, that tail there, or this whole area, this point and this point, that as a not a textbook head and shoulder, but just something that caught my eye on that. Okay, so I'm looking for it to break past this point and push down dollar. That then looking at the Aussie, same thing. This was the safer option we were thinking about. If it did break down from this point, we look for that downward push. I would say that could anticipate the same thing. Could it bounce back up? I don't see a reason why it should bounce back up. And I wouldn't be comfortable buying it back up, although you have a good strong level here. No, think that again, your thought is that could we be looking to get in a bit earlier, but that equal low here is quite close. So I think to be safer, you'd be looking at 0.6350. Take profit would be about 70 pips. Stop loss, in this case, I would say 35 or 1:2, but you could look to save a little pips if it does come up to that level. Okay, so what I'm anticipating is that in this case, it probably look like this, come down, ideally break and go all the way down. It could bounce back up a little bit, but it could do that. Right, but if it does come back up further, then you could be looking to close out that trade. There we go. That. So 6350, stop loss 35, take profit 7. Okay, that's fine. 650, stop loss 35. Hey Jocelyn, how are you doing from Kenya? Good to have us. Dollar to that. Okay. Look at the dollar still pushing upside. Aussie dollar pushing down, starting to push down. Kiwi dollar starting to push down. So that's good. Then on to look at this, another question mark here, another pair of currency does not seem like it's moving in line with that dollar strength. Hey Da Phantom, how are you doing? Right, is that US yen pushing down right now. So we saw this breakup move up about 30 pips before reversing back down on the US yen. Thing to look out for here is that 147.80 was tested came back down, tested again, came back down, now pushing lower. The trend following thought in my head says that we should be looking for buying opportunities, but looks like the buy or the move higher might be slightly overextended. RSI is showing us some potential move to the downside. So what I'm thinking here is an opportunity, a possible opportunity to sell down, but only if it breaks back this level. That's a 30 pip. Okay, so those of you who are happy to take a little bit of risk, what you could be looking at is sell down from 147.30, below 147.30, down 70 pips, stop loss. I would say stop loss would be start here about 30 pips downside, right? And it's pushing down. You see now that it's also breaking, looking to come down, almost breaking that near short trend line. Even if it did that, that works as well. So that works as well. It's going to break past this point. You could look down. The more slightly safer approach, a more conservative approach, would be sell down below 23.6. Stop loss 20 pips. I just want it above 23.6, above that 147 level, especially if it breaks below 147 as a round number. Then you could be looking at that point, looking at those points there. So a bit of a riskier move, a bit of an early move. I wouldn't say it's more or less risky. A bit of an early move is 147, below 147.30, 30 pip stop, 110, 112 pips to the downside, or 70 pips to the downside. Or if you took 23, below 147, 20 pip, 25 pip stop, 80 pip take. Okay, so it looks like overall maybe a double top on the US yen, break of that trend line, or potentially some downside. Let's highlight this one, 147.30, 30 to 75. So 147.30, stop loss 30, profit 5. Then there is the other opportunity lower down as well if you're a little bit more risk adverse. Okay, we will OJ Meds, we will look at pound yen after I do the pound dollar. So I'm anticipating some downside here on the US yen. Makes sense? Do let me know. Makes sense to you? So there's two possibilities there. Look for the hour to close. It's not ready now. Hour needs to close. It would be still within Bollinger, so that's fine. I'll be happy with that. Okay. Then pound dollar, look at that. It is still pushing to the downside. Now breaking that support level of 1.2487, right, or 80. Now pushing lower, we can take these away. That was a good almost 60 pip move to the downside. Now as it breaks lower, what can we look out for? 4 time frame. We know that there is a big major support here. And another one at about this point here because of that swing level there. So back to the H1, what I'll be looking for, again checking that reasonable, could be something to look at quite soon, quite early, maybe even at the end of this session. Hey matey, how you doing? Is to sell down 1.2460. So below 1.2460, stop loss quite big at almost 50 pips. Could do 35, could do 30, and then your take profit will be a good 60, almost 70 pips to the downside, with potentially further downside potential. Okay, that. So 30 to 765. Continuation down. That makes sense. Straight line. That pushing lower. I'm happy with that. I don't need this line. Lines there. Okay, I'm looking for this to push down. Hour to close in 20 minutes. Could be looking at the downside. So 1.2460, 30 pips to 65. So pound dollar, we're looking for continuation to the downside. Sell 1.2460. Stop loss 30. Take profit 65. 5. Yep. Almost 70. With that said, now with that thinking that the pound dollar could push down, it's retracing a little bit now, that's fine. Thinking that it could push down, thinking that the US yen could push down as well. Combine that together, looking at the pound yen, looking for it to push down, right? I think we spoke about this yesterday, if memory didn't fail me. We said that look for a reaction along this 185 level, 185 or 186 level, look for reaction. What we saw was a reaction to the downside. So now this is pushing down, not ready to get in yet. I would not get into the pound yen unless it breaks below this support level. Pound dollar going down, yen possibly going down. If it does break this support level, I don't think it will come all the way down because that's a very big move here. Do have a couple of levels for that. So back to the back to current. If it does come down, break that support, you could be looking for more downside. 183.40, tight stop loss, 30 pips. Take profit almost 50 or almost 100 pips to the downside there on the pound yen. All right. Hope I answered your question there. OJ Meds. Hi. I'm sorry, I'm not going to try and butcher that name, but hi from India. Okay, so now we're looking at that pushing down, needs a breakthrough from that support level. Then looking at the euro dollar, we're looking for it to break down to the downside. It pushed down slightly, bounced back up, now looking like a continuation to the downside. Take that away, that down, you see that very similar. We have an equal low, don't do anything yet on the euro dollar, right? Big push to the downside. Even if I caught that like this, that makes sense. I can take that one away. What we'll be looking for here is for it to break this level at 1.0 1.07 is just there. So you could be looking to sell down below 1.07. Stop loss can be quite tight, no more than 30 pips. Take profit down 60 pips, 1 to 2 to the downside again on the euro dollar. Everything, don't really like saying that, but everything looks like we're trending towards the downside, we're trending towards that dollar strength. Okay, so it's quite highly dependent on this coming up and breaking through. So I can watch for that. Okay, so I like that 1.0730 to dollar euro 1.07, stop loss 30, profit 6 to downside. Okay, I like that. Then, as Blessed Pips was asking about the euro pound, right? Expecting the pound dollar to drop. As we expect the pound dollar to drop, what that's going to do is to push the euro pound. What do you think? Up or down? If pound dollar weakens, we're going to see this push back down, but euro dollar possibly weakening as well. So now we're looking at it at this level of 8588 or almost 8590. Clear out these levels. We do this it's been a bit of a long time. Have a support here. We have a good resist here. Right? So now I'm thinking that it's well broken past 1.8, so we can take that one away. It's pushing up. If euro dollar weakens, it's going to push down, and if the pound dollar weakens, it's going to push up, right? So this move up, if it does move up, what we're looking at is GBP USD weaken. That weaken while the pound dollar to weaken while the euro dollar stays there. But look at this pushing back down, then we're possibly looking at the, wouldn't even think of pound dollar strength. I'll think is euro dollar can the downside, right? So pound dollar, we're expecting it to push to the downside. It's retraced, but going to push down. Might be able to revise this a bit later. Euro dollar push down, so more likely we're going to see that euro weakness come around first, possibly, then that. But there we have it. 3 point there. There is this point here. Okay, so what I'll be looking for here on the, that's in the middle. So this is what we're, okay. So what I'm thinking here would be either one option is that we're going to see the euro pound push up, look for it to test this 0.86 level before turning back down. You could be looking to sell down from this point, maybe a big move, 70 over pips to the downside. Stop loss could be quite tight, no more than 20 pips. a bit lower. Go a bit lower to 6. Below 8.6, stop loss no more than 20 pips. 20 pips is very generous here, and then 70 pip take profit. Or if it doesn't retrace as high or climb as high, I think looks like more likely the case, could be looking to sell down below this point. Stop loss 15 or more than 15, 30 pips to the downside. So we have two possibilities here on the euro pound. Okay. Right. Why it's pushing up right now is because we are that push bounce a little bit. That's pushing back. That's why the euro pound is climbing back up a little. Yeah, I think that that's likely. So pound dollar weaken to push it up to that resistance and then look for it to sell down. News coming out. Not super concerned about those. Okay, but I think that I would actually, I'll tell you what, I like that one more. Go up, test this level, and then after that, look for it to turn back down, sell down. Hey, Makahola, how you doing? Can I teach you a strategy for gold? Lost my money. Which indicator is best to trade on gold? On a cross pair, I don't really like doing cross pairs. I do the majors. Well, Kaka, I wouldn't base my trades just on indicators. I'll tell you more about gold shortly. Okay, so yes, I like that one. Then US Swiss franc, same thing, uptrend, supported, pushed up. Then came back. Oh no, wait. Did that? If you were in the trade, it's in the loss right now, but I'm looking for that to continue pushing up because it's sitting right there, but we are looking for it to push higher. Let's say if not, if it does turn back down, maybe idea here would be could sell. So this would be on the flip side. If we don't see a dollar strength continue, right? Any lines there? That's a support level as well. This Jamil, how are you doing? There, 38.1 point there. All that makes sense. I would like to, if we see dollar weakness, this is on the contrarian view, is that if we see the dollar weakness come back in, then below 0.89895, stop loss 30 pips, take profit, go for 90 back down. Even if you did 70 to that 61.8 would be, because you can see that the last time it came to this point, we saw a big rejection all the way down. This is quite a level. So I'm just looking at a possibility that we might see it retrace strongly from this point. Okay. Look for, it could go up, continue, but I think on that dollar strength scenario, we have many other trades to look out for already. So I'm considering this as current view 8895, stop loss 30, take profit 7. Go still 0.8895, stop loss 30, take profit 70 to the downside. Anchor is asking for Zoom meetings and trade together. Yes, that is in the plan. I'll update you guys on the Discord channel. That's the plans that Discord channel. That US CAD spoke about doing that. Not see that big push up from the Bank of Canada following the Bank of Canada news. I will maintain this view. I think I maintained this view from yesterday as well. I'll maintain it through today as well, where we're looking at 1.3670, stop loss 20, take profit 55 to upside. Continue with the trend, dollar strength push. I can do the Zoom sessions. You guys have to make sure you turn up. Put it into, don't put it here, put it into so that I can refer easier. Put it into the Discord channel. What's a good timing for you guys? Then on to gold. Yesterday we were talking about it consolidating along this level. We were looking for it to break below that 61.8 level. We were saying that below 1923 could reach 1913. So 1923 is right here. Could reach down to 1913. It came to 1915 and it's consolidating. All right, so Aka JSJS was asking what's the plan or how best to approach gold. Really, I wouldn't do it based on indicators and all that because gold is quite volatile, quite liquid. It would be quite quite liquid, quite volatile. And indicators unless it's a bit too late, don't give you a signal too late. So just be careful about that. I do look for it as more of a trend, continuation of trend. So what I will be looking for here is that consolidation, a breakout of that, two, and its continuation to the downside towards 1900 with 3. Okay. And I think in this case, because 1913 and 1915 is quite close, I would say below 1915, could see 1903. I'll just be looking for selling opportunities there on gold. So what we're looking at here is for gold below 1915, we could reach 1903, especially if we see the dollar index push to the upside. Might retrace a little bit. Might retrace back up to here, then push back down again. I think that would be quite a big retrace. Possible, but might do this or trading back down again, or it's going to sit in there and push down. Okay, so either a rejection of 1924 or I would like a continuation to the downside. I really prefer a continuation than a rejection because it could come up, test, come back down, and then trend. I'll look for it to sit in that consolidation for a while before pushing down again. Okay, so with that said, that is the plan for today in terms of currency and gold. Looking for it to push up. Nah, we won't do a WhatsApp group. Too many things happening in my jump onto the Discord channel for that. With that said, please help me out. Click that like and subscribe button. Let's get more people onto that. And if you haven't already, do jump onto the Discord channel. For now, trade well, trade safe. I'll see you on Discord. If not, I'll see you tomorrow 3 p.m. Same time, same place. Take care now. Bye bye.